Born in Mashhad, his initial interest in Islamic studies began when he was 8 years old. Being motivated to become a Hafiz of the Holy Quran and attend the Hawza of Mashhad, he received his bachelor's in philosophy and theology from the Al-Mustafa International University in Mashhad. He moved to the United States in 2008 and traveled to different states to deliver English speeches at seminars and Islamic centers. He is currently the resident alim of the Masjid Al-Rasul in Simi Valley, California. His main focus is to spread the true message of Islam and the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam and help youth develop a strong Muslim identity. Please welcome him with a strong salawat.
Should we give some time to people come by or not? They're not going to come by? Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Okay, that's not a good sign. One more time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of Allah, the most beneficent, the most merciful. Before I start, I did not write that biography that they read. So I did not approve at least some part of that. And so his focus is that and that. I have a lot of good intention, but hopefully I will be able to do part of that. And the second part is this experience of when they talk about religion, they apologize to me. It's a multiple time happened to me. I don't know why. It sounds like that I'm the only Muslim sitting there and they apologize. Sorry for offending you. When they talk about religion, it's again a matter of every person, and I'm not representative of religion. All of you are representative of the religion of Islam. I'm hopefully a servant of Islam, being able to answer some questions. And I studied as much as I could, but it doesn't mean that I know all the answers. The same way that no scholar can claim that. So let's hope that for this few minutes I have here, inshallah, we can answer some questions and be able to answer some of the possible conflicts that every Muslim student possibly will face in their life, especially when they start going to college. But before starting my speech, help me with the salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul 'uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. قال الله الحكيم في القرآن الكريم ومن يتوكل على الله فهو حسبه. When they give me this title of how we can be a successful Muslim student and how we can face challenges and conflicts that we're facing on an everyday basis, as a student myself, I experienced some of these challenges, so it will not be just theoretical arguments and suggestions for you. I'm actually experiencing some of the experiences that you will have in the future, or some of you are already experiencing. But what I can say is that the experiences of the sisters will be different from the brothers. So it means those sisters who are planning to go to college as a Muslim, they will have their own type of challenges, and brothers, they will have their own type of challenges. They're not the same, but they have very similar solutions. So let's start with number one, that how we can become a successful Muslim student. The question is, what is the difference between Muslim and a student? Because that's what they used in the title of this section, which is Muslim/student. It's one of the problems that we have is that the slash in the middle, that we differentiate between a student and a Muslim. If you want to become a successful Muslim, you have to sacrifice something from becoming a successful student, or if you want to become a successful student, you have to sacrifice from your Islamic religion. The reality is exactly disprove this kind of mentality, that you can become a Muslim and a student, which are the same thing. It's one identity that you have as a Muslim that you represent, and there is no challenges in your path for this success. What I can tell you academically, there is no challenges for a Muslim student. Is when you go to school, you take classes, how many units doesn't matter, which subject doesn't matter, if it's social sciences or ITs or any other major you take, The class you take is nothing to do with your faith. It's very important to understand that in our ideology, everything, any subject that you're going to study is not Islamic or un-Islamic. You cannot categorize it. Any knowledge that which has benefit for people at any level, they are Islamic. So when we said this person studied mathematics or physics or chemistry or any other subject, that subject is not separate from Islam, because Islam said anything that could be beneficial to human beings, go and learn and seek it. And we can proudly say that we are one of the unique religions among all these religions, Abraham religion even, which promote specifically seeking knowledge from any source possible. Islam said, go اطلب العلم ولو من الكافر. Go seek knowledge, even someone which is a disbeliever. If someone even doesn't have faith, but you want to learn, there's a value in learning. Go learn from that person. So do not judge the person by the faith when it comes to learning. اطلب العلم ولو بالسين. Prophet said, go seek knowledge even if it's in the furthest distance possible. In that time, China. Go seek knowledge even if it's in China. Again, if you look at the distance, the China is just an example. If it means far from you, and you have to travel for seeking knowledge, go and do that. Do not sacrifice learning and knowledge for any cause, for any reason. And we have to have this in mind, that no matter what people said about Islam and about why in some areas in the name of Islam they're closing down schools and they don't let the specific people go to school or genders go to school, it's nothing to do with our faith, because one of the clearest message of our faith is اطلب العلم فريضة على كل مسلم ومسلمة. Holy Prophet said that seeking knowledge, it's a responsibility, it's a task for every Muslim man or woman. So we have to seek knowledge in our own level. But what we have to understand, it's the way we seek knowledge, the attitudes we have toward that, it matters. What Quran is saying, to be careful when you seek knowledge, your intention should not be taking over and earning power. When you seek knowledge, you should not have intention of learning that specific field to have power to rule upon people, to get revenge from people. Again, I used this example before. I remember it was a TV ad. I don't remember who was the sponsor, but the way they represent that advertisement was very shocking to me. And that was a group of young students, I think maybe elementary school or middle school student. And they were mostly the one that they were bullied by other kids. And they were facing the camera and say, you can say mean things to me today. And then go to next person, and that person said, you can be mean to me, you can mock me, you can make fun of me. These are all the kids they look like, I apologize for the words, nerds in the technical term for some people. And they were saying these things, that okay, you can be mean to me, you can bully me, you can be, then after all saying all these things, the same student will come back and say, one day you will work for me. One day I will be your boss. One day means giving hope to these kids who study very hard and being mocked for that one day you will get the revenge. You become the boss, you teach them the lesson. Today, for example, when I was in middle school and high school, you mocked me, but now I'm your boss, now's the payback time, right? It's a very wrong way of looking at goal of seeking knowledge. That if you seek knowledge for that purpose, to prove someone's wrong, to tell them, oh, that's the reason I became successful, to teach you a lesson. That process, that intention is a wrong intention. Our faith is specifically focused on intention. So before you start an action, look at the intention. It's like when you want to plant a tree, whatever, you make sure the seed that you're planting is the right seed. If you use a seed which is dead, and no matter how much water, how much time you spend with that seed, is not going to be a good result. So the seed in our everyday decisions that we make is the intention behind everything we do, and that's give value to something that we want to do. The action is the same. I help someone, and another person helps someone, but two different intentions give two different outcomes. So going to school is a good thing, is a good activity, but ask yourself, what is the intention behind it? I want to go to school to become a doctor, to become an engineer, to become, again, look at all these examples that we have in this list and much more than this, to help people, good intention. To help my community, good intention. To help my parents, good intention. All these good intentions could be something that we can be admired, you can admire, and we can be proud of. But the moment it becomes a revenge, it becomes proving something to someone else, it loses that value. So if you want to be a successful student, a successful Muslim student, number one, work on the intention. Make sure that our intention is our good intentions. Quran used this example of Qarun for us. Qarun was the cousin of Moses. A rich man, very knowledgeable man. Moses came to Qarun and said, you have a lot of money, share some part of this money with poor and needy and the one that are around you. Build a better community. These people are in need. And the answer he gave was the one that is a dangerous answer for some people. He said, إِنَّمَا أُوتِيتُهُ عَلَى عِلْمٍ عِنْدِي. Qarun said, I earned these with my knowledge, with my skills. It's their fault. I will not help them, I will not share my wealth, because I worked hard for these with my knowledge, so I don't have any responsibility to help other people. So the intention is a selfishness. With the intention for seeking knowledge, with selfishness will create a selfish person, which will not have any good benefit and good cause for other people. That should be one thing we focus on. I remember a story that a charity organization, again, now I'm afraid to use that specific field and career, said a rich man, which was one of these, I'm not going to say which one, not this one, the previous one of these fields. So it was a doctor, engineer, imagine one of them, because if I specify one, then you say, oh, you offended that career. So it was a rich man in one of these fields. And they look at the list and said, everybody's helping our charity organization except this guy. So let's go knock on his door and ask him for help. Very educated man, by the way. So they knock the door. He opened the door. So what do you want? So, oh, we are from this charity organization and everybody's helping. And we know that you have some resources and you have enough money. Are you willing to help us? And this guy said, do you know that I have an old mother? I have a mother who needs surgery. You need that my mother is in hospital right now and need for that surgery, but they're waiting for the money. I said, the person who was asking, the volunteer said, oh, I'm sorry, I apologize. I didn't know you have all these problems. So do you know I have a brother in jail? He need money to, for bail and all that. Do you know that? So, oh, Sarah, I'm sorry, we didn't know you have these many problems. Did you know that I have a wife and kids, that I divorced my wife and they need child support and child and all that, and I didn't pay for that? I said, sorry, sir, we didn't know that. We should not judge the book by the cover, so you have many problems. Then he concluded, said, I did not help any of those people. How do you expect me to help other people? So the intention is very important. That you can be a successful doctor, engineer, IT, but not caring and being selfish. A Muslim student, if I can summarize, is the one that understands from Islam lack of selfishness, removing selfishness. There are two doctors, same degree. One is helping orphans and helping those who don't have enough money. And one, he doesn't care, says, it's not my problem. I have this big student loan, I have to repay them, and this is not a fantasy, princess world. I have to pay for those. It's not my problem, it's their problem. All these people who gathered here and they accept to give you lectures and workshops and spend all these money, and they did not charge you any money. That's an example of that. If God forbid they were selfish, they never would participate in such a program who doesn't have any money. What's the catch? What's in that for them? So why? That's what the reason they called this organization Imamiya Medical International. Imamiya means the background of Islam, a background of Ahlul Bayt is what motivated them to start this organization for young generation, to help to raise a generation, Muslim generation, who's going to be, inshallah, successful student, who have good intention toward the community and toward other people. So the first step to becoming a Muslim, successful Muslim student, is work on the intention. Make sure do not study with the wrong intention. Because the value of every action is the intention. And again, we have many speeches about this that I don't use more examples and stories. Just think about that what is the intention that you want to choose a specific major. If it's only money, money is a factor. I'm not saying do not care about the possible income and all that, but if it's only money, think about it twice before spending 8 years, 10 years more or less of your life on that. If you don't like the major, if you do not appreciate the subject, then one day you will think about it, that why I spent 10 years of my life on that subject only for money, which were other ways of making money. Maybe easier ways to make money. The second subject or second factor is important for being a Muslim, a successful Muslim student. It's number one in the list of the greatest sins. You have to be aware of that. When you look at the greatest sins, the number one in that list is hopelessness. Number one. That if someone loses their hope toward Allah, toward forgiveness, that's one of the greatest sins a human being can commit. That is next to murder, next to adultery, next to all these other great sins and crimes that we have. One of them is hopelessness. Why is that? Because a human being without hope, we cannot survive. Without hope, you will not be able to achieve anything. And especially in your age, I'm talking about the teenagers and beyond and the youth, if you don't have that hope, there is no motivation force and there is no actual goal in your life. Because most of the time in this age, they think, most of the time, there are exceptions. Most of them, they think if I have a goal and I'm not able to achieve it, I have to give up. There's no hope. Example, I apply for a certain school. I want to go to that school. And unfortunately, for different factors, I end up not going to that school. And I know some of our youth who gave up, said, okay, that one, I'm not worthy of that school, so it means there is no hope for me. I'm not going to go to, for example, a 4th school or 5th or 20th school in the nation, ranking in the nation. I want to go to the top one. That's the reason behind it is hopelessness, that the moment something happened that is not in the way that we planned, we should not give up. A Muslim is a human being that never give up. If you learn from the time of the Holy Prophet until all the 12 Imams that we have, one common aspect of all of their lives is this, to do not give up. Holy Prophet started with how many people behind him? When first time Prophet started praying toward Kaaba, how many people were behind him? 2 people. 2 people were behind him. One was his wife, Khadija, and one was his cousin, which was basically, he was raising him. So basically family. Imam Ali alayhi salam has Khadija. If his mentality was, now I want 1 billion people to follow me, not because he cared about that, now because Allah told me the message and this message is the truth and I want everybody to understand it. But he didn't give up. Years and years and years, and the number of Muslims grew very small. But the number of fingers for years. And they were not comfortable. When they were praying, they were insulted, threw trash at them, insulting them, mocking them, different way of torture that you can imagine. But what Prophet didn't do was giving up and losing his hope. And was so much hope in these people that even Allah said to him, that you have so much hope in them, some of them you should not do more than what you can. Because some of them, they said, we don't want to listen to you, but the Prophet still go to them. They push him back, they don't want to talk to him, but he said, I don't want it to be misguided, I want to talk to you. Even if you throw trash at me, even if you insult me, I want to talk to you. Not giving up brought Islam today that we have around, how many Muslims? How many? Okay, thank you. How many?
1.8
1.8. Let's assume 1.8, which I disagree, and a lot of organizations disagree with that. It's much more than that. Almost 2 billion people. Almost. 2 people, now, almost 2 billion people, 1.8 billion people. From the goal that Prophet had in mind. So what we learn is not giving up. That there are plans for us in the future that we don't know. Don't be limited-minded. Do not look at the small picture. Look at the big picture. That we don't know many things in our lives. That sometimes Allah said in the Quran, that if you rely on me, man yatawakkal ala Allah, if you put your hope and your reliance on Allah, fahuwa haswa, I will take care of that. I will not disappoint you. Why? Because again, we plan things for us that doesn't happen in our way. We want this happen, we want our face to be a certain way, we want our accent be in a certain way. These are reality of our times. I know some of our kids talk and say they're not happy with the way they look. They're not happy with the way they speak, they're not happy with the way, there are many factors. Remember that a lot of people, if you talk especially to elderly, that's the reason our religion said talk to the people who are older than you, because they went through exactly what you were going through. Very similar. One of the statements that bothers me the most is this statement that some people say to their parents or to the elders, is that you don't understand. Right? You don't understand. What do you mean? They were born this way? They were born 50 years old or 40 years old? They never been a teenager? They exactly understand. They understand much more than you can understand. Because now they have 20 years of experience with them that you don't have. You're at this age and you have 20 years in front of you, but they already did the same process that you're going through. So respect experience. That's if you want to learn something. And when you listen to elders, you will understand that they also had those moments of thinking about giving up and losing their hope and what they're doing. But what they didn't do was not giving up, and now they achieved what they're proud of and what they truly can talk about it and be honored to be called that a specific field, a doctor, an engineer. So that's the second point. Don't give up. That's a famous thing. I learned it when I came here was, if life gave you lemon, it's a bad one. I didn't know it's a bad one. Is it a bad one? It's a good one. I'm not a big fan of lemonade myself, but if life gave you lemon, make lemonade. Again, the concept, in my opinion, the way I translate that is, when something confronts you in life, you can say, oh, talking and complaining, oh, why it didn't happen the way I wanted, why I didn't get into that school, why I didn't get into that field, why I didn't get what I wanted, with the grade or whatever. Or you can say, it is what it is, and let's make the right decision based on what I have right now. It's up to you. You can dream all the time, daydreaming all the time, and okay, I wish, I regret. Or you can actually look at the reality and make a decision based on that. Have good goals in life. They promise me from behind this podium nothing will happen. Recite the salawat. Is it a sign that my time is over or no? 5 minutes. Okay. So.
Don't give up hope at that moment.
Thank you. Recite another salawat ala Muhammad wa Muhammad. Quran in a short sentence describe that for us. That when life, you confront something in life, try to work with reality, is that very simple in 2 sentences Quran said. لا تأسوا بما فاتكم ولا تفرحوا بما آتاكم. لا تأسوا بما فاتكم means do not regret what you lost. Regret is a feeling, is an emotion of sadness about something you lost. We're not talking about not learning. You have to learn from the mistakes you did. Some people say, oh, you only live once. You destroyed something, for example. You made a big mistake. You learn from it. You do not ignore it. You have to learn from the mistakes to make sure in the future you do not repeat the same mistake. But do not regret. Stop hitting yourself. Stop blaming yourself all day long. So regret is a negative sense of emotion that there is no point. There is no positive outcome of that. Learning from the mistakes of the past is good, but do not blame. It's done, it's done. لا تأسوا بما فاتكم. Number 2, وَلَا تَفْرَحُوا بِمَا آتَاكُمْ. Do not be overjoyed with what you have. Overjoyed means do not count too much of what you have. Be happy that you have something, but do not put all your hope on what you have. You have one friend, good, like your friend. But do not put all your hopes in that friend, that one day if that friend disappoints you, it's the end of the world. So make sure that your hope is distributed in different subjects. That's, if I want to summarize, do not give up. Hopelessness is one of the greatest sins that we have. And if there are moments of you feel it's failure, learn from the failure and move on. So I promise you that you have plans in your mind, which is good, but you're not going to reach what you have, some of them at least. This is a reality. You're not going to reach it. That's fine. Create new goals, new plans. There's a possibility and there is a plan that Allah designed for your life. But it's not a straightforward path. The path of success as a Muslim or as a student is not one straight line. Okay, you have to do this. No, sometimes they're up and down. You're happy, you're sad, you get an A, sometimes you don't get what you want in school or not. Make sure you learn from that. There are other factors that I'm going to finish, but the third one I'm going to say, and I conclude my topic with that, is that be careful about the friends you choose, especially when you go to school. One of the biggest lies that people tell us is that you are who you are and nobody can change that. Biggest lie in psychology, and there are psychologists here. It's one of the biggest lies. You are not who you are. You are a person at this time, but you're not going to be the same person possibly tomorrow or a year or 10 years from now. We are, even at the very late age, we're going through changes. We change our beliefs, we change our habits, behaviors, many things. And one of the biggest factors on our behavior and our manners and our decision making are our companions. Again, today's psychology, they talk about peer pressure, positive influence, negative influence, positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement. They talk about all these things. Quran, 1400 years ago, they told us this, that there are people that one day they regret that why they chose that person as a friend. And again, there are reality of it. There are examples in psychology, the studies actually prove this. And when you're with someone, unconsciously, means without your awareness, you learn from them. You learn without even being aware of that. You don't choose to learn, you learn. So be careful about the group that you hang out with when you go to college. Make sure you be very careful about the people you choose. I'm not saying only hang out with Muslims, because that's not a real expectation, but hang out with the non-Muslim who are good non-Muslims at least. Not just the name Muslim does not make someone good. I personally recommend some non-Muslim which are good, but some Muslim, unfortunately, they have the name of Muslim and nothing look like a Muslim. So make sure, look at their behaviors, look at their decision-making in life, and choose your friendship based on that. But do not put too much reliance on friendship. Too much hope on something, again, if it's just only one specifically, gonna disappoint you. So be smart about that. Respect yourself. Do not let this I of existence, be influenced by any factor out there. Be smart. And one day you will be proud about the decisions you made, especially about friends you chose, or God forbid you will regret that. So if someone is a party person, if someone is a negative influence, be strong enough to eliminate that. Especially as a Muslim, we have this tendency of thinking, is there any sign? Sallallahu Muhammad wa Muhammad. As a Muslim, we are tend to, it's a good thing that because we're Muslim, we're minority, you have to be nice, right? Positive, you have to have a first good impression on people. You're Muslim, right? You're a minority and they're all non-Muslims. Represent Islam with your good manners, good character. All there, by the way, they're good things. But this being too good sometimes, which is attraction. We attract people with our good manners, or we are good listeners, because again, we are our resources are more limited, so we have differences. The way we attract people is not with physical characteristics. Again, let's throw out some more psychology stuff to make sure that we get use some of this education that we get. We tend to, as a human being, we go to the people that they have more similarities with us. The one that they're more, look like us, talk like us. We like to hang out with them. Again, it's a part of our nature. So we know that in some aspect we don't have those similarities. I'm a hijabi sister, for example. I don't have those similarities with a non-Muslim sister or brother. So what I do, I try to be nice, which is good, respectful, listening to people, giving them a special attention sometimes. But sometimes you have to understand, when you face people, there are two types of people. One type of people, they're worth your time and attention. So attraction is one part of the, our relationship with others. We should have the other element, which is rejection. It's a reality that sometimes there are some people that you should not hang out with because of yourself. They're not good influence. They're going to waste your time. They're going to waste your opportunities that you could have in life. So have the power to reject some of them. It's nothing wrong with that. Okay. Thank you so much for your offer. Thank you so much for inviting me to that gathering, that party. I know I'm this kind of person, and people invite me to parties with this. So you guys definitely will be invited to places. Have power to say no, and this is nothing wrong. Oh, it's mean. I cannot say no. They already think bad about us. Let's say yes. No, have the power. Willpower to reject, especially those who are negative influence on you, on your life, on your education, on your faith. So 3 things that if I summarize, there are more. I'm just going to summarize with these 3 things. Number 1, intention. Make sure you have good intention. Work on that. What are you going to school for? What is the reason you choose this major, this field? Number 2, do not give up when there are failures, when there are moments that the life doesn't go the way you want it. And number 3, be careful about decisions you make on friendship. Have attraction and have rejection at the same time. Thank you so much for listening, and hopefully I pray for best for all of you, for khair for all of you, that you go to a school that you wanted, inshallah. But I pray you go to a school that is good for you, because we don't know what's going to happen. And I pray that Allah help you in the process of your studies and maintaining your faith, inshallah.